Hello?
And I here so you guys can see who's on it and they can hear you. Okay. Jack Burbright, can you hear me?
I just can right now, but I was having all the experts trying to understand why I couldn't.
Jack, did you speak?
I did. Can you hear me now?
See. Thank you. I'm trying, our neat bar is updating and I'm trying to see if there's another way I can get into this system. So give me a second if you might mind staying unmuted so I can holler at you for help again.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know why it's doing that. Maybe this is why it's doing it. Thank you. Jack, can you hear me now?
I can, loud and clear.
Okay. All right. So for everybody online, this is Kim, the city administrator. We're waiting our fancy Zoom system neat bar to finish its update. I'm going to move my laptop and you will see the council. The sound, we'll try to make it as good as we can.
Thank you.
Tell me there's power over here, Brady. Brady, is there power over here?
I don't know. It's behind the closest is behind here.
Hey, yeah, can we? Okay, I think you might.
Are these ones we should be once you got it started again?
No, it's down on the upgrade. Do you have, technology? You have another computer that you use? Thank you. I do, actually. Somebody used to have it, so you could have mine. No, you can't do it. So,
Are these working now? Yeah. Should, it's working. Yeah.
yes.
You can hear that? I can turn it up a little, but. There you go. Should be working.
As soon as the neat bar comes up, I'll log in. And then you see who's up there and then I'll. Okay. Go to silent. Are we recording? Yes, it is recorded. Okay.
You need power over there? Turn the
Yes.
floor.
I don't know how long the battery will last. No, that's.
Y'all do this three.
Can be. Let's test it. Should we hear you? Are we going, up and going?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome to our August 19th, 2025, City Council meeting of Depoe. Okay, would you call the roll, please? Cannon.
Here.
Poland. Here. Short. Here. Sovereign. Here. Rec. Here. Watson. Here. Masella.
Here.
You have a phone.
Oh, thank you. I do have one change to the agenda. We received some correspondence late this afternoon, and I think we've got copies of it. I'd like to do that as J1 correspondence, the letters. So I have that in there. Has everyone had a chance to review the consent agenda?
Pardon me, Mayor, I just wanted to point out to everybody that the reason I have a reimbursement on there is because when I was doing some of this stuff, somebody else was using my card to do city work, like conferences and stuff like that, and my admin assistant uses it to order office supplies. So she had my card and I didn't realize she did, so a couple of times it ended up, I don't like to do that, but that's what it was for.
So we're doing discussion?
Yes.
I have a couple.
Oh, well, let's take a motion to accept the consent agenda and then we'll discuss.
So moved.
One second. It's been moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there discussion on the motion? Go for it.
I have just one change. It's on the last council meeting that we had, and it's Cook Street. The vote count is wrong. The motion passed with 5-1 vote and 5-0.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or suggestions? All in favor of accepting the consent to the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We have guest presentations. Daniel, you want to come up and give us your presentation?
Yes. I'm gonna try and share via my Zoom.
Need to see. I am so sorry that y'all won't be able to see it. What is
So here,
it?
I can, you can stare at my screen from here and city council can see this, correct?
Yep.
Okay,
We have his slides in our
You do, you have the sides in your pack. Okay, whenever you want to do a share.
oh, right.
Jack Bear writes on the moon.
Share around behind us.
There he goes. Okay.
Okay,
It's
great.
there.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to see some of you again, and for those who don't know me, my name's Daniel Weir. I am with Sustainable Northwest, and I've been for about the past 10 months working in the background, kind of supporting the city and working regarding the drinking water sheds that are supplying all of you with drinking water. Trying to better understand what their structure is, what their ownership is, and potential future next steps that the city could take around water conservation and water delivery. So I'm going to talk a little bit today around the overview of your drinking water system. Brady could probably give this presentation better than I could. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about North Depoe Bay Creek and Rocky Creek, because those are the two of the drinking water watersheds that your drinking water comes from, the main two. And there is a grant opportunity that we were made aware of that the city could pursue. And I wanted to just share a little bit more context about that and open it up for discussion generally about that opportunity and any other questions you have around the watersheds. So I hope most of the information here is accurate, but just to give an overview, and the map that we're looking at is, of course, it's the Depoe Bay, but then it's the 3 drinking watersheds where the city has water rights that to pull surface water to provide drinking water for the community. In broad strokes, there are 1,398 residents to the city, and the water district itself supports around 1,000 connections. But as many of you know, there are far more than 1,400 people in the city, especially during the summer months, that are putting demand on the drinking water supply as a whole. Throughout the year, kind of the estimated maximum demand for the city is 75 million gallons of water. And the city has water rights from these 3 water supplies of 7 cubic feet per second. But in reality, you pull closer to 2.5 cubic feet per second at any given time at the most. But all that to say, the water rights that you have legally far exceed the water demand that you have. But of course, some of the issue is the availability of the water in these streams coming into your treatment plant. So again, the North Depoe Bay Creek, that's your main water supply. You have a seasonal water supply just south of the Rocky Creek watershed, and the emergency backup water supply is the South Depoe Bay Creek.
We have perfected rights on Rocky till
Yeah.
2054. We got that.
You got it for a while.
Yeah, we got it for a while.
Good. And so a little bit more context for the North Depoe Bay Creek watershed. It's the smallest of your 3 watersheds, or I'll refer to it as your 2 watersheds because South Depoe Bay, it's an emergency. We hope you don't ever have to use it. North Depoe Bay Creek online, what I found was kind of legally what's been signed is that there's a 0.5 cubic feet per second water right, and that feeds directly into your water impoundment. So your reservoir is at the base of the North Depoe Bay Creek, which means it's the easiest place for you to get water from. It's the preferred water supply because of all the time and money that you've invested in the infrastructure there. And of the watershed, it's 530 acres. A majority of it is split between private timber companies. Mainly it's owned by Hampton, but there's also an investment arm of Hancock Timber, and the Hills of Depoe Bay own one edge of it. In terms of the watershed itself, over the past 15 years, there's been a bit of timber harvest, a good amount of timber harvest that's taken place in the watershed. Even this photo, which I pulled from last year, in fact, the eastern edge of it, there's been a bit more harvest. So in total, there's around 25% of it is made up of mature timber, and around 60% of it's been harvested in the past 5 years. The watershed itself, it's highly susceptible to landslide. And that's actually, been a bit of an issue. Some of the issues after storms, there's been turbidity, and some of that is through the landslide that's taking place. And really what that means is your forest has steep slopes. And so when it rains, a lot of runoff can come into the water treatment facility, sometimes causing you to go offline for a day or 2 at a time and increase the amount of treatment that's necessary in the system. More importantly, the Depoe Bay, North Depoe Bay Creek is not able to meet the city's demand year round. So kind of, I think, I want to say from June to October, you're pulling from Rocky Creek as well, which is your secondary water supply. Rocky Creek is another strong water supply that you have, and like I mentioned before, between North Depoe Bay and Rocky Creek, the city's demand is fully met with water availability. That's great. Rocky Creek, your water right is 4 cubic feet per second, far more than you likely need. There has been some historic concerns around fish passage in the past, and so at times where fish passage is required, you're expected to dial back your water use. That being said, I don't know if have you ever been recommended to dial back?
No,
your
because
water?
of the ODOT eliminated the stream from entering the ocean back in the late 60s when they put the highway through.
Yeah.
And they actually raised the height of the stream, so it goes off a waterfall and the fish can't make it up through that, so pretty much there's still native cutthroat.
Mhm.
But no sand.
Yeah. And so I imagine over the past few decades, there's been conversation around how to get fish passage back into Rocky Creek. That is not my area of expertise. I'm not going to weigh too heavily on that. But in general, the Rocky Creek watershed, the reason there's more water is because it's way bigger. It's 4,000 or 3,400 acres. What's that? 6 times the size of the North Depoe Bay Creek. So there's a lot more timberland and a lot more timber ownership and a lot more timber management that takes place within the Rocky Creek watershed. This map that I have, and it's been shared in your file, so you'll see the main ownership is Starker Forestry, kind of closest to the intake, and then the mid watershed is Weyerhaeuser, and then Hampton owns a portion as well. The main issue that I've heard about with Rocky Creek with your watershed is that it takes a long time and it takes a lot of work, and it's a hassle to pipe the water up to the water treatment plant. It's around 3 miles of piping and a pretty treacherous excursion to get the pumps underway and under operation. So between your 2 watersheds, it's managed mainly for industrial forestry. And what's a nice resource that's come online in the past few years is that there's a notification system of forest management that's taking place on different properties. And so we're able to kind of be alerted when timber management is taking place. And so Brady and the water treatment plant can kind of keep an eye on water quality, keep tabs to make sure, if there's a big storm after a recent harvest, that they keep an eye out for turbidity. So this year, since we've been monitoring, there has been in North Depoe Bay Creek, Hampton has done a harvest on the eastern edge of that watershed, and then Consumer Power Incorporated has done a lot of maintenance at the base of their electrical lines. Given that North Depoe Bay is a smaller watershed, there's been less that's been going on in North Depoe Bay beyond that harvest. With Rocky Creek, it's a larger watershed, and so there's been a little bit more management that's taken place. There's been road maintenance and herbicide treatment adjacent to roads to minimize invasive species. Both Weyerhaeuser and Starker have done that, and then they've also both prepped for and done pre-commercial thinning, or may do pre-commercial thinning throughout the season. What I'd like to say is all forest management that's taking place in your watersheds are taken at the level of the Oregon Private Forest Accords state standards, and so they're following all the legal laws and requirements. And we have a good relationship and a conversation with the various timber managers.
Can I ask you a
Yes,
question?
Brent, please.
What I understood is, and I hope I'm wrong, but what I understood is that if the timber harvest had been approved before the finalization of private forest accord, it could go under the old rules, and I think some of the cuts have gone under the old rules. That would be good to find out.
Yeah, I'll double check on that because that is good. I know that the rules kind of flipped, I want to say, in 2023. So kind of the harvests that have taken place past 2023 that have been submitted are following the new private forest accord rules, but I'll double check.
Because the private forest accord just went into effect.
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
sorry.
end of 20.
Yeah.
24.
I'll double check
Okay.
on the variants and the details there.
Thank you.
moving forward, all the timber management is following the private forest accord laws. But I think what's important for you as city council members to understand is that industrial timber management and forest management for water quality and availability look a little bit different. You know, as you see, timber management for revenue is what the Oregon coast economy is built on. And the forest structure itself is typically looking for uniform timber age so that it can be efficiently harvested and kind of short to medium rotation cycles. So trees being harvested between 40 and 60 years. Again, this varies between the specific timber managers, with more of a focus on single species in each stand. And that is really productive and effective for timber management, but sometimes that doesn't necessarily correlate with increasing or stable water supplies. Specifically, what we've seen, and there's been a lot of research that's shown on coast range forests, which Depoe Bay is coast range forest, shorter rotation cycles have decreased availability of water downstream because a lot of these stands are more densely packed and all of the trees are trying to grow efficiently, and they're not necessarily trying to save water for the downstream users. So where forest management can take place that focuses on water quality and water availability is looking at diversifying the age of the trees. So in a specific forest, having trees that are 5 years up to trees that are 100 years old, and kind of having a mix of those, because at different ages, different trees use different quantities of water, and some of them respirate the water back into the streams to ensure there's more water later in the season. It's also important to have multiple species in different stands because having more species means there's more resilience to drought and other forest health risks. And it's important to have variable density. So in some areas where there's older trees, maybe there's fewer trees, and so forth. And I think, you know, what's really important here is to understand that while the private forest accords are in place, you know, to look at that as a minimum and potentially expanding those standards. So whether it's larger buffer zones or less harvest on steeper slopes, just looking at different solutions that leave more timber on the ground in watersheds so that they can store water and keep the available water cool and clean. So I think this is a good opportunity for the city to start a conversation around what forest management practices look like within the different watersheds, mainly the North Depoe Bay watershed and the Rocky Creek watershed. Of course, I think no one would argue it's a priority to maintain clean and reliable drinking water, and it's great that you have the water rights to ensure water remains available, but to have the forest structure to deliver on those water rights is important. And then it's a good opportunity to identify what opportunities there are for adjusted management within the watersheds. Of course, there's in the long-term potential for timberland acquisition, but that's not the only solution. You know, I think a great first step is having a conversation with the timber companies themselves and seeing what interest there is in adjusted management. So this whole conversation was inspired because I saw a grant opportunity and I reached out to Kim and I said, hey, Kim, well, you know, what's going on with this community green infrastructure grant? Is there an opportunity for the city to pursue this? And if so, should we engage with the landowners? And her recommendation was that I come chat with each of you. So this green infrastructure grant, what it highlights is using green spaces, forests, parks, increasing trees, or planting native and drought resilient trees to, it says on the slide, protect or restore natural landscapes, but also to mimic natural systems and to reduce the stress and potentially increase water conservation. So this application is targeting rural and coastal communities. So the Depoe Bay, the city of Depoe Bay is a good fit, but this application can't just be pursued by the city alone. It requires a conversation with the landowner around what their plans are in the watershed and what potential species, they'd consider that would also help with your water retention in the future. So if this is something the city is interested in terms of a timeline, a grant application is due October 13th, 2025. So in just under 2 months. Sustainable Northwest, we have the capacity to support the writing of this grant. And funding is available between as little as $10,000 and as much as $300,000. Again, I think that's a conversation, if we move in that direction, to be had with the landowners themselves. So with that, I think it's a good opportunity, like I've been saying, to engage with Hampton and Hancock and Starker and see what potential work could take place.
Daniel, that was a great presentation. Thank you. Who would be discussing this with the landowners?
So it would be something that would be led by the city. I'd be happy to facilitate and engage in the conversation, but I think that it would be a city initiated conversation. So it could be, Kim could reach out, or Sustainable Northwest on behalf of the city could reach out and start a conversation. I know in my outreach to the Hampton specifically, they're interested in joining next month's city council meeting just to meet the council members. So I think it could be a good opportunity to have a conversation then. But the application should come from us.
So when you're talking about talking to the landowners adjacent, does that just mean from like the reservoir up?
It would be from the intakes, so any of the landowners within the watershed. So if I can go back, so it would be this is the Rocky Creek watershed, so it would be the furthest west. You can see the intake is one of those blue dots, and I'm sorry if the map isn't very large. Oh, it disappeared? Okay, from the
I was concerned about North Depoe Creek section.
Oh.
It's the only reason I'm asking. It's just a personal question.
Yeah.
Just full disclaimer.
That's a good question. We could certainly reach out to you. But yeah, I would say mainly the most efficient use of time would be to talk to the timber companies.
Yeah.
Who we have started relationships with.
Are the timber companies, I'm sorry,
No, you go first.
I was gonna say, are the timber companies interested in talking with communities about this, or are they more interested in harvesting their timber?
I think that timber companies and, Hampton themselves, I've talked to them, they understand your priorities of clean, reliable drinking water and want to work with you to achieve a solution. What that solution is, we don't know until we have a conversation with them.
How would a grant help facilitate all of it?
So I think the grant is the starting point for our conversation to say, as a city, we're considering pursuing this funding. Would you be willing to sit down with us and discuss what possible uses this funding could have in the forest land that you have? Specifically around species like replanting trees that may be more drought tolerant, or replanting trees that are native to the area, or something similar. But using the grant itself as a starting point to have that conversation on next steps.
So, are you saying to talk to the timber owners before we submit a grant,
Certainly, yes.
Because, with up to the 300,000, I would really like to pursue at least some acquisition.
So this,
with, in really key areas.
Yeah. that's a good.
And that would be the higher end, and that would get us very much, it would get us something, especially in key, either really highly erosion prone or, adjacent to roads or buffers.
Yeah.
Yeah, right adjacent to the creeks.
So this funding does not support acquisition. This funding supports planting and forest health. So this conversation would not be a conversation saying, hey, we're interested in acquiring a portion of or the whole watershed. This conversation would be something along the lines of, are you planning on planting in the watershed? If so, would you consider more drought resilient species in key areas? So in riparian zones, etc. Okay.
So you think the timber companies might be more cooperative if we have some grant funding to supplement their planting?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And maybe this is an opportunity for them to adjust some of their planting in, again, priority areas. I don't think that it makes sense to say, hey, we want you to replant your entire watershed or your entire ownership, but adjacent to the buffers, extended buffer zones in priority areas.
Well, and if they know there's potential grant money coming, if we want to start creating a diverse native forest, And if we get planted now, and 5, 10 years from now, where we can acquire things, so it's still the idea of what are our key areas.
Yeah.
And so this could also identify key spots that we want this to be done.
In those conversations, they would identify like, oh, I mean, they know the forest better than anybody else. So they might even be able to say, here's where if we were to replant, we'd expand the buffers here because this is the steeper slopes, you know, they're the experts. I'm not gonna come in and tell them how to manage their forest. And one thing I will say is, I know you approved a contract with Sustainable Northwest to develop a tax lot analysis. And I think that would pair really well because when we develop that tax lot analysis, we can look at, okay, here is where the steepest slopes are, or here's where, you know, the property might be more affordable because it's been harvested more recently, or here's where the next potential harvest is. And we'll have those scenarios. And so it could pair well with this conversation.
Any further questions for Daniel?
And if you do have some that come up, Kim has my email, send them via her, and I'd be happy to answer them.
Question for Brady?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Brady, wasn't there at some point a well down near Little Whale Cove that also
Yes.
supports water coming into our watershed?
Yes, it's a pretty sizable aquifer. It's our third source.
Okay,
We haven't had to use it. We flush it quite often. And we do samples for potability, but it's designed to go into our raw water source, along the Rocky Creek line. If the Rocky Creek watershed becomes, a problem there, say a pump goes down, or because we literally have to run our pumps there. So if there's an issue with the intake or the pumps, we can, when it's drought, we can always use the aquifer.
and what kind of water rights do we have for that pulling from the aquifer?
So they're perfected rights, those are navigable, and so are the perfected rights for North Creek. It's just that Rocky Creek has to be renewed in 2056, 54, 56, right in there.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other? Great presentation, and I'm sure we will discuss this further. We contact you.
Sounds good. Yeah, appreciate your time. Good to see everyone.
Thank you. We also have a suggested viability study of the Midco Sanitary District that's being suggested by Willamette Partnership.
They are on Zoom, so,
Okay.
right. This is still booting up, I'm so sorry.
Well, there, can you see us? I can see you.
We can see
No,
Yeah, there you
we
go.
can't
the
hear that.
beautiful
Oh, you know
pink.
what, we were getting feedback, so I muted.
Try the microphone on there.
That was my fault. We were getting feedback, so I muted this room. There you go. Okay, should be good to go now.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Always this evening. What was your name?
Teresa Jacobs, can you hear me? Awesome. Wait, what?
Okay, say something so I can find out where the speaker is.
All right, hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Hold on, we're getting there, Teresa.
No worries.
Okay, now try it. I
Hello,
think we got you, Teresa.
you got me?
Yeah.
All right, let's see if you can hear Ethan. Ethan,
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
okay.
Great.
Is there a volume speaker on?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to turn the volume on.
Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on.
Can you turn our speakers up? Brady?
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to do it.
It's letting me log in.
Oh, Zoom's coming up.
Hold on,
Great,
Zoom's coming.
Okay. keep it going.
Technology.
And
Hi, guys.
people at the same time.
Is this working?
It's
One
all
second.
working, Teresa.
We have Zoom
It's
coming up.
coming, it's coming.
Okay.
There we go. Teresa, hang on one second. Let me do that. Hold on. Okay, Teresa, I think we're up and going, all right?
We're good.
Excellent. You can hear me. We can hear you. Can you see our slides?
Oh, it's gone. Teresa's gone. You muted?
No, she's maxed out.
What?
No, she's
She's maxed out, she's max volume.
yeah. Teresa?
Yes,
Are you muted? There we go. Oh, okay, she's
not
here.
muted. No, hi.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna get us started. My name is Teresa Jacobs. I am here with my colleague Ethan Brown. We both work for Willamette Partnership. My role is as program director, and in that role, I facilitate large groups, often on behalf of government. I provide technical assistance, and I am a policy and program strategist. Ethan is a partner on our community water team. And so Ethan works with communities, both cities, counties, elected officials, and also community groups and members to find solutions to usually very difficult water issues, stormwater, drinking water, wastewater issues. And that is how we find ourselves here today. And Ethan's going to give you a little bit more context about specifically why we're here. I am going to try to advance slides. Oops, here we go. In case you haven't heard of Willamette Partnership, we are a conservation nonprofit. Our mission is to help people and nature thrive together. We often do that by providing no-cost technical assistance to communities in Oregon to resolve really difficult issues having to do with water, sometimes having to do with land. And we do that by getting federal grants or other funding designed to assist communities, and we provide technical assistance in those communities using that funding. And Ethan will describe specifically how we would propose to do that here. We have staff certainly in the Portland area, but actually all over the state. We have some folks in Central Oregon, in the Valley. I live in Portland, but I'm coming to you from Eastern Oregon because I'm out here for a little bit of work. So we work all over the state. All right, Ethan, you want to take it away on this project?
Sure. Thanks, Teresa. Hi, everyone. Just another check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're here today through our funding through US EPA. So there's this thing called the Environmental Finance Center. It goes for about 5 years, and it's a grant funding source that provides money to nonprofit groups and universities to provide free technical assistance around water issues. And the main goal of it is to connect communities to federal dollars, whether that's through all the SRFs or through USDA rural development or what have you. It's just trying to get money into communities that need it. And it's primarily focused on small rural communities. And that's where I do almost all of my work. We as an organization specialize in complex water challenges, as Teresa mentioned. So one of the other entities that does this work alongside us, RCAC, the Rural Community Assistance Corporation. They do asset inventories and rate studies, and they do a really great job, and they do that all the time. We tend to do sort of different projects all the time because we kind of fit in these sort of sticky situations that arise. And I just want to quickly list some of the communities that we've already served through the Environmental Finance Center. Again, this work comes to communities at no cost. And we're bringing on about 6 to 7 new communities right now for the next year or two. And this work goes for another 2.5 to 3 years. Next slide. Thanks. So I wanted to briefly talk about why we're here today and all the work that we've done to get to this point. So again, we primarily work with communities that are really capacity strapped. So they're doing a lot of different projects off the side of their desk in addition to their general operations and day-to-day work. And so what we make sure to do is that we figure out whether or not they are eligible for our assistance through this funding source, which there are a lot of different criteria to make sure you're eligible, and B, that there's a project that makes sense to be able to help that community in some way, and at the same time, we have the expertise and capacity to be able to deliver that assistance. So most of the time, we learn about new communities through our agency friends, because we're in communication with Regional Solutions, DEQ, et cetera, all the time. So we learned about the wastewater situation with Depoe Bay in Glen Eden from Courtney Flathers, who we check in with once a quarter, twice a year, et cetera. Then we basically take it back to our other TA partners, our CAC, Moonshot Missions, and say, is this something that makes sense? Like, is this a project that makes sense for us to potentially work on? And then we talk to some of the other agency folks that are connected to it, like DEQ and Oregon Consensus. And we learn all this information to make sure that if we reach out to a community, that there's a there there, that there's something for us to be able to do, and that they are eligible for our assistance. So we've done all of this work, and then we started doing the outreach to local leaders all at the same time. So we reached out to the city of Depoe Bay, Lincoln County Commissioner Walter Chuck Jr., who was connected to us through Courtney Flathers, and also Glen Eden Sanitary District. And I'm just putting all the information here because part of this whole point is that we're making a very transparent process. We just want to be forward with who we're talking with throughout this entire thing. Next slide. So I should start off with, we do not live in Depoe Bay. I live in Portland too, just like Teresa. And so we have not been living with your wastewater situation and with this long-term agreement that has been a headache for everyone involved for years and years and years. So everything you see here is just what we've been hearing from DEQ and Regional Solutions, et cetera. But this is sort of the basis of why we started thinking about this project, is that it sounded like there's this agreement, a lot of problems to it, and that the city council voted to terminate it. And now everyone's kind of figuring out, what does that look like going forward? How is Depoe Bay going to afford these services over time? Updates to the facility. In addition, GSD, Glen Eden, really needs to figure out what they're going to do about treatment, and more so where they're going to discharge it and how that can be permitted. So there are a lot of unknowns in that process. And in addition, while we were sort of scoping this out, we learned a little bit more about the, I would say that one of the reasons why we started thinking about this was because of the idea of a sanitary authority that we first learned in the Oregon Consensus Report and then heard back again from Lincoln County Commissioner Walter. So we are actually in the process of finalizing a toolkit right now for DEQ around how to support wastewater providers, whether it's an association or a utility or a city, that are struggling with some sort of governance issues, and particularly issues that are limiting their ability to seek funding or to expand capacity. And so we're actually drafting this big toolkit, like 10 different big options, from the simple MOU to city annexation to sanitary authorities. And so when we started hearing this in the conversations about Depoe Bay and Glen Eden, it sort of piqued our interest because we're literally drafting how to deal with this and the implementation steps as we speak. Teresa? And so the project that we're planning on completing is basically a plan B. So we know that everyone's talked about a little bit in the past about what would a sanitary authority look like, but no one's actually really done the due diligence to say, what would it mean to stand this up? What would it mean for the two communities? How would it be representative bodies? Who would staff it? What are the pros and cons versus just going forward with termination? And so we would do that work. We would do that legwork to provide a document that you all and Glen Eden and Lincoln County and DEQ can have at their fingertips if the plan A ends up running into some really big issues that are too difficult or too time consuming to address over time. So we know that there are a lot of unknowns for both you all and Glen Eden. Glen Eden is going to have real challenges finding a way to permit discharge and fund those infrastructure improvements. And we've also heard from you all, from City Recorder Kimberly, that that there's going to be a facilities plan completed sometime in the next year or so. And that's really going to describe what is going to need to be done with your own treatment plant, your own collection system, and what the rates may need to be in order to afford those improvements over time. And so we want to do this due diligence, provide just a document so that later on, if it does turn out that there are challenges up ahead that you want to sort of avoid, that you've got something at your fingertips that you can act upon instead of going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, what do we do at this point in time? And I'm going to hand this back over to Teresa, who's going to talk a little bit about sort of how we do work in general.
Yeah, thanks, Ethan. So, as Ethan mentioned, we're.
Excuse me, could you have her talk into the mic, please? If she is.
I think,
There's slightly a delay, so I think that would be helpful.
I don't know how she has her mic set up, Teresa. Can you speak a little closer, maybe?
I can try. Is that any better?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, as Ethan mentioned, we do the vast majority of our work in communities that are capacity strapped, that don't necessarily have all of the funding and staff they need to take on all the projects that the community needs. And so in doing that, we have really developed a familiarity with how to do this work as a partner and not a burden. So that really speaks to sort of the sideboards that we set up for this work. So we plan to use minimal staff time. We have access to a lot of information already, and we use existing information to do our work. So we do not ask staff to create new documents for us to do our work. We really value transparency. And so all three jurisdictions, the county, Depoe Bay, and Glen Eden Beach, would receive the same deliverables, the same communication and information from us. Ethan noted we don't live there. We aren't responsible in the ways that you are for making choices for your community. So we give you findings. We don't make recommendations. We aren't in any sort of position to make recommendations to you. We are a TA provider that provides ideas. We understand that you have other options already on the table. So termination, assuming some sort of agreement, we will not be evaluating those options. We are focused on this new idea of the sanitary authority for our evaluation. That's where we would focus our attention. And then often in the process of doing our work, we find that communication products like one-pagers or slides can be useful to explain what we're talking about or what the option is. And should we produce any documents like that, again, they would be given to the points of contact for each jurisdiction, and the jurisdiction can disseminate them how they would like. We don't do public outreach work and sort of start any sort of general communication campaign. That we leave up to the jurisdiction, because you are really obviously the experts in your own communities. So those are our sideboards. Are you all still able to hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Just wanted to share a couple of anticipated next steps for us. We are here today to provide you with an explanation and update about who we are and the work that we propose to do. We would commit to regular status updates to all jurisdictions' points of contact. Again, just making sure everybody understands what we're doing and everybody has access to the same information. To get going on our work, we need to draft a community work plan that Lincoln County would sign. We need to have some local authority that signs a community work plan for granting purposes so we can get going. We would like to identify any water funding applications that are due within the next 6 months so we can support you in that work. Kind of alongside the memo writing that we're talking about, that support and funding is also available to you. We will share any information that we need or reports that we need with you that are already existing. And then we would begin our work on the memo, which we call a viability assessment, as Ethan was calling it. So that is sort of the sideboards for how we work and the anticipated next steps, which we really hope are a source of information for you all, not a source of work. That is how we like to operate in partnership with community. I'm going to take these slides down because we're really at the kind of question answering part. This is our contact information in case anybody comes up with a question after the fact that you don't get to ask right now. Please feel free to reach out and we can provide answers. Let me stop sharing so you can see our faces. All right. Any questions about what we are proposing to get started on here? Or any
questions for Teresa?
Yes, Joe.
Yes, thank you for your information. Can you tell us about really how do you facilitate your information once you get it? You say you're going to go after federal funds. As we all know, federal funds have pretty much evaporated at this point in time. Could you embellish that on your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, Ethan, do you want to take that and I'll fill in?
Sure. Yes, it is unfortunate. Seeking federal funding is not what it was before. We are still in the requirement that we need to help communities seek federal funding. So one of our initial first steps is to make sure that if there are any application support you'd like help on in the next 6 months, we want to make sure that we plan for that. But more broadly, if you want to wait until after your facilities plans completed, we can help with any like clean water SRF applications, USDA RD, any state business Oregon applications, things like that. Federal funding is still being approved. You just have to be a little savvy about it, I think. But we are all in the same boat, and we're all being affected by the funding sources. Willamette Partnership's not the only ones that are affected. We know communities are really hurting for infrastructure funding right now. I'm hoping that the state's going to step in at some point, but I have no idea if that's going to happen.
Kim, could you put the next to last, or the second to last slide up, please?
Oh, I can't, Teresa, they have the slides. Could you put the second to last slide?
Or the third to last.
Our third last slide?
This one?
Yeah, no, the one before that maybe, yeah.
Yep.
So, I'm actually feeling a little bit railroaded, I have to be honest. I don't think the city council was voting to have this analysis, but I don't see any harm in having information, but it's sort of being pushed on us. And you know, Glennon Beach is in the county, we're our own city. So it's almost like the county and Glennon Beach are working together and you know, we're sort of at a disadvantage. Oh, it's really hard to permit and things like that. But my main comment on the first bullet there is there's nothing there about environmental concerns. Effective, affordable, timely, fair share, permissible, and regulatorily compliant, local control and long-term solution. All of the sewage that goes into Depoe Bay goes out right on South Depoe Bay, the South Point, Depoe Bay. There's kelp beds, there's whales, there's sewage full of PFAS, pharmaceuticals, all sorts of stuff. And a small town that blooms to 5,000 whatever people in the summer, we have a lot of stuff already going down the drain. And then if you double, triple that with Glennon Beach's sewage, you know, it's, you know, talk about, you know, acceptable permitting. I think Brady said it goes into less than 14 feet of water there. And sometimes at low tides, it's almost exposed. So without adding a criteria, and I don't even know where those criteria came from, without having any environmental concerns, which was expressed to Oregon consensus. It very much concerns me that it's, you know, there's a thumb on the scale just because of the criteria set out.
I will
If-
start, and then Ethan, if you want to jump in.
Mhm.
I mean, first of all, I want to say thank you for sharing your perspective and sort of how you're feeling about the presentation. I hear you that the word environmental is not in the list, but permissible and regulatorily compliant requires environmental compliance. And so I think that this is really just a difference in language that we didn't call it out by name, but in order for any outfall to pass muster in anywhere, but certainly in the state of Oregon, it has to have environmental controls and safety and protection
But
considerations.
Teresa, PFAS are not regulated. Pharmaceuticals and wastewater are not regulated. You know, caffeine is not regulated. So you can permit something, and that doesn't mean that we want it. We want it in our watershed, we want it in our fish, we want it in our whales.
I understand that. We can add environmental considerations to this list of criteria. Ethan, I'm going to let you speak to where the list came from. But if you are concerned about unregulated pollutants, we can certainly include that in any sort of analysis that we do. I have a fair amount of experience working on PFAS issues and have done work across the state and with Oregon DEQ on that. So I am happy to talk about unregulated pollutants if that is something that you would like considered. Ethan, you got the list?
Sure. So, so this list we developed in-house. So we've done a similar kind of viability study for Morrow County for their unincorporated community of West Glen, which is facing a lot of drinking water challenges with very high nitrates. And so we used similar criteria, but a little bit different, fewer criteria than there are in here. This list is just based off of what we've heard so far. This list is not comprehensive in terms of we always expected that it would be adjusted after we make first contact with you all. So, I mean, when we sort of baked this project, we know that this is going to be moving forward. We have this idea that it seems to be is going to be a value of some sort. It may be useful, it may not be useful in the end. It just depends on you all. We don't have control over any of that. But the actual, like, which criteria are most valuable to review, we believe that this is a very good starting place, and including environmental concerns is one of those two that can be included. The challenge is it has to basically meet a criteria, and we're trying to make all of this something that can actually be evaluated in a quantitative way. So in terms of like affordability, are the rates going to be able to be below US EPA's affordability thresholds? Is it going to be able to effectively treat all of the wastewater for these communities, or are the current systems wouldn't they need to be expanded? Fair share is the equal representation of geographic representation for the people who are voting and deciding upon this entity in the end, and the people who are receiving the benefits. Are there equal representation for benefits and also services received? So all these kinds of things. We'd have to think about how to make an environmental concern a similar kind of criteria as to whether or not it meets, does not meet, or needs more data, which is usually the three sort of designations that we fall upon whenever we're drafting these. But these are designed to be decision-making tools. They're to assemble information for elected leaders to then decide what to do and have information at the ready in a way that's easily digestible instead of like 300-page master plan studies and things like that. So that's kind of how the process went about to develop that.
Ethan, logistically, what would be required of the council? Do we have to have meetings with this, or?
I would say there's very little required of the council for you all. We would be reaching out to the city recorder with a list of potential information that we'd like to be able to review in order to produce the viability study. We do not think that this is going to be useful for you all until you have a facilities plan completed. So that's like the deadline that we're sort of working with internally. However, if it'd be useful to have this sooner, then we'd be happy to move up the deadline. And then we'll be providing you with the information, with the viability study, with easy to understand handouts, things like that, in case you wanted to share them with anyone. We would not be sharing them. We do provide a lot of extra communication products with any sort of reports like this to decision-making bodies. So that's basically what we would be doing. The decisions are up to you after we hand you the information.
Any further questions?
Pardon me, Mayor, if I just wanted to say this is on my notes to update you guys on. So speaking of the facilities plans, this is all tied together and it would be helpful for Ethan and Teresa to hear that. We did submit this week, Genevieve Mancuso, who's doing that technical assistance stuff through the EPA, did submit what they call a SIP application to see if we can get some support with getting that facilities plan done through the grant.
Great. If you need help with drafting RFPs or RFQs to obtain engineering services, please reach out. We do that as a service to communities all the time too.
Great.
Well, I personally think this would be beneficial for us to at least explore, and what comes, out of it, would probably help with our decision making, I would think. So what do you thoughts on this?
I agree.
Is there a motion to accept the proposal as submitted?
Can you refresh my memory what the cost is?
None,
Nothing.
And how's our staff time availability for something like this?
The things that they would be asking for are already created. We already have them, so they're all in a location, so they wouldn't be hard for. That would be something Gina could easily do.
Thank you.
It's essentially a wastewater report is what he's gonna do, what they're gonna do. So it's not new science, it's there. They're just supporting and giving us options.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the development person?
Motion to accept.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, what's our next step, Ethan?
We will be sending you a list of types of information that we'd love to have on hand, and we'll ask a few key questions like, are there any wastewater applications you need us helping with? Do you need help with RFPs or RFQs for engineering services? And when would be a really good time to receive this information? If you just need it by the time facilities plan's done, I would assume that'll probably be completed this time next year at the earliest. So it's pretty easy to move forward, I would say.
Pardon me, I don't know if I remind you, remember we recently got that information from Lenny that they plan to come to the council at the end of January 2026 to present a proposal, so maybe the timing could get close to that. Teresa and Ethan, I don't know if you heard me clearly, but that was their last plan.
I haven't heard of that, Kim.
It was a letter I sent out.
We don't need to decide that now, though.
No, I'm just saying it's just one of those option things that keep in mind.
It would be helpful to have their information before we have a meeting with them. Or, yeah, we can put off of that even beach meeting too.
Okay, I think we've got a plan of action, and we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, good presentation.
Thanks so much.
I'm gonna take a 5-minute break.
I'm going to mute. I'm not going to stop, I'm just going to mute.
How's it going out there? I saw you people out there. Were you double teaming them yesterday? That's like, lights everywhere. I thought, oh my gosh, you're being big.
I think there were 2 or 3 of us, and
Is
there's
that
Taylor
right?
running around, and then today we have
Oh my.
2 running around, and Councilor Marcelo got to see some of it in action as we were.
Is that right?
As we
Running
were
through Gracie's.
running through
Oh.
Gracie's, trying to catch up with people for reasons.
Oh my God.
So yeah, no, we were here today as well, of course, but
Yeah.
we were tied up behind Gracie's. We were near 2.5 hours.
Oh, no.
Just going through the process,
Yeah.
but, and it's a good one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, we were there for a reason.
Okay.
We would like to have running traffic, but every once in a while those traffic stops turn into something more.
I've also seen the new deputy. How's he doing?
He's doing good. I checked his call list the other day, and he's.
I've seen.
I want to say
Yeah.
he's not keeping up with me quite yet, but
No.
he's in short trail for sure. No, he's doing good.
Good.
He understands what the wants are. And he's doing good. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's great. Great. Thank you. Any questions for our deputy? Yes.
We have noticed, the food cart situation. And the food carts are not an approved city ordinance, and so.
I know, sorry, not to cut you off.
So yeah, I guess the question is, what is the proper method for us to report that? Because if I call into the non-emergency number, the usual response is, well, who are you to know what the city ordinances are? It's a weird situation when you call the
I think
non-emergency
something
number.
we've already kind of run into with that, can I go speak to it, is that'll be along the same lines as the guys operating without a business license.
The food carts is kind of a different thing, because.
Is it? Yeah, that's what I'm.
It's the fruit thing at the.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's not
that's what I
supposed
thought.
to be
And it's the ice cream truck and all that kind of stuff, and we probably should take up, do we like that kind of thing or not like that thing, I mean, I don't mind, for me personally, but the ordinance right now doesn't allow it, and so if we start letting people get away with it, then it becomes a free-for-all, and so
No,
I just wanna know the best way to report and get it.
That's something I'd have to speak with Kim about, because certain ordinance things we discuss.
Right, so a lot of times I get texts from folks, and Brady as well gets information from folks that say that they're downtown, because we can't always be. And they will say, hey, so-and-so, and Brady's gone, and I know Brady a couple times has gone around now. And I will, right, and I will let, right, if it's during one of our guys' time, I need Corbin's number, by the way.
Okay.
He thinks he's getting away with not giving it to me, but anyway, I'll text them and say, hey, go take care of it, you know? But.
I think there was one, they were setting up shop right here, it was a dog. I remember that one. That was like the last summer, 2 summers ago.
Yeah,
right?
Brady's.
Yeah, kind of out there selling plants and.
Yeah.
Paul
There's
can
been
go
instances.
enforce it as well, so one of us can go down there, and they're all code enforcement officers. We just.
So we need a direction on how to report that. I
Yes.
took pictures and then what? I have the guy's phone number.
We don't wanna text the staff on a Sunday
No,
saying, you know
no.
what, we've got somebody down
No,
here.
So maybe we can talk about that later.
Maybe we can,
A
because
process.
both Brady and I get, and Paul get texts all the
Yeah,
time.
however the report
So,
goes, we can sort it out.
need to bring your salaries
We
with
have
us.
to do it before, yeah, it's not
We're
it's not a matter of doing
Well, the
it, it's
first
a matter
time you
of
tell
how
them
to.
it's not allowed is one thing, the second, third, and fourth, it should
Yeah.
be.
This guy's coming back very early.
Which one is it, the fruit stand
The
guy?
five
Yeah.
seen
The fruit
first
bin
thing.
at the post office.
Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes I've
Hasn't
seen
the
that
post
there
office
that
rounded him out?
do
Oh,
that.
it's-
Well, he's out on the right of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the post office can't make him move because he's on the sidewalk. And ODOT won't make him move. So it's really he's operating without a business license.
Well, and he's not even supposed to be there.
That, yes, I think there's a couple of things that can be.
Yeah,
it's-
so that is
it's
something we
enforced.
can sickly see,
Mhm.
if we see.
And I think we should take it up in a future meeting.
Yes, I put it down as agenda item to put on, it's not future discussion.
There's so many things that we.
Yeah,
Because we can tell these people about our new, things on.
Okay, any other questions for our deputy?
I just have 3 updates quick.
Yes,
I met with Sergeant Vale yesterday. We had a great conversation. We do it periodically, but it had been a while. I just want you to know that I've had people tell me, where's our deputy? And
or they'll say, well, there's always somebody parked at the fire station. It's Nick's fault. The reason is because he made that office so nice at the fire station that all the Lincoln County deputies want to use it. So there's times if you see a vehicle like that, or two vehicles, it may not necessarily be our folks, it may be, but Sergeant Bale said he did that on purpose to try to encourage more deputies to come through Depoe Bay, because they're always looking for something new, they might just, hey, I don't run traffic or I will live.
It's a nice office, it is now a popular office. I like it, I don't like spending a lot of time there, I'm there, I'm writing reports, I'm doing admin things, eating lunch.
Training meetings.
Meeting, yeah, so therefore a purpose, but yeah, not there hanging out, but it has attracted other deputies. I've had state police stop in and check it out and hang out for a while, so him making a nice office has attracted some attention.
The other thing I wanna let you know is, I just found also, I'm gonna contact, Parks and Recreation. Reason we're getting all those SUVs and all those vehicles, or the reason we're getting all those RVs and all that is because rangers at Boiler Bay are telling them to go park at Depoe Bay. They're chasing them out of Boiler Bay and setting them right down to Depoe Bay.
On 101, not in town.
On 101.
But
So
That's why we're getting so many more this
In
time.
front of World War II.
So, I got a contact and I will be reaching out to them tomorrow to say, stop.
do we need to put signage up?
Yeah, well, remember, we
So
talked about the work session, so that is one of the things that we got to work with ODOT to find out what we're allowed to put up there and the language that deputies want to make them be able to enforce it.
It's bad, it's the worst this year.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
if
that's
there's
why.
Any clarification on what enforcement, why it's difficult to enforce anything right there, I can
Absolutely.
explain that a little bit.
You have to have an ordinance to enforce, right?
So, and there is in a sense, the three days, 72-hour parking, however, these people move.
Right.
And it resets, technically,
It's not
right?
that long, I always hated that ordinance, but so many cities have it, and it's just really hard because they do get to move, so.
And then when I come around the corner of Boiler Bay in the morning, they're not legally parked, there's no enforcement to really take at that point in time, when I immediately see them. There have been one or two that do stay parked for more than 72 hours. And you talk to them and you get, say they move 2 feet, 1 feet, 1 inch, and it resets their timer. That's how it is. So yeah, signage would absolutely help, saying, we can have a discussion at a later time, but signage will make enforcement possible.
Yes,
just one thing, last time we talked about the flags, I think, Bill brought it up and we were talking about it. I was in Yahas, the south end of Yahas, and they do have, warning flags that pedestrians take, and it makes it much more visible. So I think we heard last time they got rid of it in Lincoln City, but it's down in Yahas and they're using it for safety, because they get a lot of.
I'll email the city manager and find out how she got, because I think they said last time that ODOT doesn't like it, so I'll find out how she got around ODOT.
But probably not talking to ODOT.
Maybe they're not talking about it, just do it.
That's not, ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
And with ODOT, sometimes that's the better thing, because
And-
it takes years to get
Right,
approval
and
for
we can
it.
do that. The sign guy that talks to Gino is really responsive to Gino, although they have a system now where they put you in a queue and then you get answered one day, so. But I can email Bobby and find out how she got that.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. We'll move on to our committee reports, emergency preparedness.
Yes. Peace. Peace.
Okay. It's closer to me. All right, thank you. So as you know, we had a tsunami, and so I'm here to tell you a little bit about what the committee, Emergency Preparedness Committee, is thinking about sirens, because I know that's a public topic right now. Before the July 29th tsunami that happened, which was a distant tsunami, it's very different than a local tsunami. Distance one's distance, it happened in Russia. Local is 60 miles out there, and so that's what we have to worry about is the local tsunamis. And so when the tsunami happened, or before the tsunami happened on the 29th of July, we actually talked about that in our meeting in July. It was a couple of weeks before then. And the topic of sirens came up, and they thought, well, this might be something we will look into because we've had them before, they didn't really work out, but maybe they're different. So we thought it's worth a shot. So I went ahead and called a city on the coast that I know pretty well about their siren system, and they do have one. This particular city is probably 4 or 5 times larger than our city, and they have one in place. So then I took the information back to Brady and said, Brady, here's what I found out. And he said, well, he doesn't recommend sirens because they're expensive, we've had them, we can't get parts for them, it's not worth looking into, and especially the money the city the size of Depoe Bay would be able to afford. So at our emergency preparedness meeting a couple of weeks ago, this was a topic of conversation, and then Kim gave us a lot of information as well. She had like 3 cities that had them, what their thoughts were on them, pretty much around the table of our committee. Brady and Tim is recommending not to pursue tsunami sirens. Because if you have a cascading event, the floor is going to drop, what they say, 6 to 9 feet. You'll know that you're having an issue. And so we've been told for years now to run for the hills, run as fast as you can. So who's going to come to City Hall and set the siren off? And once you hear it, that person that has to come in and flip the switch or whatever it is using their valuable time to make it out of safety personally, his family, and pets and elderly people that might be living with them. So I think the idea of a siren is a good idea, but I really do, but the practicality of it is that they're expensive, they have been known not to work very well, and I guarantee you I would rather spend money on providing from the 2,000 to 5,000 people that will be here in a cascading event that we have to take care of than a siren. So that's pretty much my thought. At the night out, I talked to Samantha Buckley, and several of our committee members were there and talked to her. She's of the same opinion. She's the emergency manager for Lincoln County. That is great, but in practicality, if you look at the facts, it's probably not the best option. And just wanted to address it. I don't know if you have questions about it. I'd be happy to answer, maybe defer to Brady or Kimberly, but the committee's not recommending sirens at this point. Any questions about that? Okay.
I did have a question of whether it was gonna be addressed or not, because we've had a lot of people that have asked us, why don't we have the sirens anymore?
Yeah.
We notified all of our guests that there was a tsunami, that the harbor was closed because of the tsunami, and that they really should stay off the beaches and that kind of thing. And so there's a level of notification that I think needs to occur that is outside of a siren that says, you need to get out of here now. I mean, I can't imagine setting off a siren for a 1-foot tsunami. That to me doesn't make a lot of sense. Cascadia absolutely is, you're right, there's not gonna be enough time to be able to do that. But I think there's something in the middle of that that could occur where we need to provide more notification than what we are providing, especially to keep people off of the beaches. That's the big thing. And sirens are probably the most efficient way to do that there's an event going on.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that, people want to go to the beach to see the tsunami
To watch it come in, right?
And so that's gonna.
Or they wanna go to the harbor and watch the waves come into the harbor.
Right.
And so, we told all of our guests, stay off the beaches. And after the whole thing was over, we get a notice from the guests, it was really nice of you to reach out to us, let us know. We didn't know. They weren't watching the news, they're on vacation. And so.
How did you reach out to them?
We did email blast and text message for every guest we had in-house. And we basically posted the link to Noah's report, and we told them, we're advising you to stay off the beaches.
I agree with you, Bill. It's, there's Everbridge, which is the telephone communication system that the county has. And when the people in Texas also had a similar type of situation. They had their phones off when the floods came. So Everbridge, I think, has some really good merit, but it depends on, are you gonna leave your phone on at night to get that notification? That would be, I started doing that. So that would be what I recommend, you know. But it's a dilemma, because the only thing that we can think of to do as a committee is educate the people. You know, when you feel the ground drop, that's the first thing to do, and that's a pretty big indicator that you've got a situation. What else do you need to happen? You know, but people may not know really what that means exactly, so we're trying to educate them. But I agree with you, it's something, you know, we always talk about in our presentations when we have public education. But the only thing I can do is to try to educate them. There's some interesting things going on, and I'll kind of jump to this. Bill, you gave a memo to Kim, and she forwarded it to me about Tillamook. Okay, so what Tillamook is doing right now, and I would imagine, since it's county-based, they're probably doing it in Newport and Coos Bay, I'm not sure, but Tillamook is having something called, it says, in the community's line of defense. They talk about national disasters, and what they're looking to do is calling on residents to help prepare the community. And this asking for the central county needs more support to ensure our neighborhoods are fully equipped for a crisis. The city aims to develop a trained network of community volunteers. Preparedness starts at the local level, said their chief. And city manager added, we need for residents to be ready, willing to be able to step up when it matters the most. And I think that we've been kicking around in our committee, doing sort of like neighborhood islands and discussions and things like this. So this is talking about very similar things, only on a broader base. But we're thinking that if you can educate the people in the community hall, that's one thing. You have more localized, this is my neighborhood, and so this is what we're looking at. So we're looking at that, and we think that education that way might be a good thing to do. So that's a really good idea. And Maureen with the Oregon Emergency Management, she's with the Human Services, and she was at our night out. And the state is working on a similar program as well, not just the community of Tillamook, but for the state to come forth with a program that's not developed yet. I think it's real neat. If any more questions about this tsunami? Okay. I know we're running late. Let me just run through a couple of things. The Stonebridge cache site update, wetland delineation study was done, and it came back that is not the cache that's up at Stonebridge. It's not in the water district, so that's good. And so Kim is looking for a grant to fund the cost of the cache site, and she's putting in place right now in order to clear the land, landscape the land, put cement pad down, and everything that goes with putting in a site, which is costly, but luckily we have the funds to do that. So we're looking to, you know, pretty fast forward that as soon as the land is clear. We have a cache site.
Pardon me.
Yes.
So just probably at the next council meeting, what you guys, before we can actually really do any work on the cache, we got the wetland delineation and everything's okay there. But the council and Stonebridge HOA will need to sign an MOU with you. So that's what's gonna come to you probably next at the first meeting in September before we can actually do any work on it.
And that's just standard for policy, to do that. So we have two caches currently. We have one here, and then we have one at the storage unit. And so on the 19th, we're going to be dividing, kind of like making things even. We may have too many sleeping bags in this one, too much food in this one. So we're gonna like combine them to make sure there's an equal amount in both of those. And so everyone is invited to come and help us if we would like to. I think it'll take a couple of days. It's kind of interesting. Walport has is having a preparedness fair, And so I'm gonna be helping them with that on the 23rd of August. And it's going to be focused on being 2 weeks ready. And hopefully, I'll be able to come up with our committee and do this for education, Salt Lake City, Depoe Bay about that too at a later date. And let's see what else. So our next community event is going to be October the 11th. It's going to be basically an Ask the Expert type of thing. I've got someone with CRT to talk about to-go bags at our last presentation. That was a clear message that people didn't really know how to do them. He's going to be addressing that. We'll have Samantha Buckley come, we'll have the fire department come. And I've got several other ideas of people and some calls out to people to do it. I'm thinking of possibly having an attorney to talk about what to do before you have a tragedy in an event, what things you need to put in place, you know, for that. So I'm trying to reach out to people like that to just ask the expert. I think that they need to be experts on that. And then we've asked Brady to address water sources and also show people how to get the 40 gallons of water out of your hot water heater. How do you do that? And so Brady, I think you have a hot water heater that you're gonna bring in to do that.
We're gonna have a, yeah.
Yeah, and so you just need a couple of hoses and a bucket and stuff like that. But it's more complicated than that, but people already have that.
Can we also include showing people how to turn off their gas?
You know, it's an interesting question, Autumn, because I called the gas company, and that was the first call that I made to ask the expert. And I talked to a woman at their corporate office and in their marketing department, and she said the last thing that we want to do in a cascading event is to have you go and turn off your gas. She says, run for the hills, don't worry about it. But she said that she does have some brochures she's going to give me. Lincoln City's having an emergency preparedness event. It's sometime in September, I'll go to that, and she's got some flyers for me. But she said, once a year, they have 2 locations that they will come and talk to people, and they go to Lincoln City and Newport pretty much all the time. But I did ask her that question, oh, I'm not gonna do that, you know.
Some people aren't gonna run for the hills because they're already out of the inundation zone.
I know. But I actually have researched that, and I do have some information that I can share with you. Yeah, I looked into that, on how to get, you know, turn off your water, your gas, but that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm not gonna tell you how to do that. Anyway, I did look into that.
Debbie has a question.
Uh-huh.
So running for the hills, we all think we know what it means, but in a crisis, I'd like to have a clear idea of what particular hill I should run for.
You should
Can
stay
you help
where
us
you
with
are.
that?
You should stay where you are,
Okay.
because you're in the 40th, so you're fine. There are evacuation signs along Highway 101, but for this area, I would say Indian Hills Drive right here. There's a kind of a natural place up there. You're fine where you are. I live behind the harbor. I'll be going up to Stone Bridge.
Let's just
I'm sorry.
go with the details right now.
I'm sorry.
I just think that would be helpful at your,
Yeah.
to elaborate more on
Yeah,
that in
I
your
agree.
seminar.
And I think at your event, it would be helpful to have an insurance agent. Because there are so many people who are not insured
Okay.
for what could happen during Cascadia. And so in order to be tsunami insured, you need to have earthquake insurance, not flood
That's a good
insurance.
idea.
And so you just need to make sure that you've got the right coverage.
That's a good idea. I know when I moved here, I got flood insurance for FEMA. You know, just one thing that I just need to do. Fran, did you have a question?
No,
Okay.
no. Hi, Joyce, the city's insurance agent, maybe
Oh,
able to
good.
help that, so you remind me and I'll check with her.
I appreciate that. Okay, thank you very much, Connie.
Thank you, Joyce. Energy advisory, Paul. Hi.
So the Energy Advisory Committee had our first meeting on July 28th. Scott Whitmire was elected chair. I'm vice chair. and Joanne. And I hear we might have a fourth candidate later on in the meeting today. We didn't have a lot of business to do at that time. Obviously, the immediate focus is the phase 2 construction grant for that kicked off about a week ago. So our understanding is Aptum is currently working that we're going to be approving something later on in this meeting for them. The only and our next meeting is Monday the 25th of August. One thing that I think Kim sent out to us was this ordinance establishing the Energy Advisory Committee. And there was a provision in there that there be a city council member appointed as part of the committee.
No, that would be no, there's no council members.
I'll double check what ordinance got posted, but they did change that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there won't be one.
No,
Okay.
I'll find out what happened.
So it could still be a 5-member committee if we find another volunteer?
Absolutely.
That's good, because we've got a couple more contacts we're trying to reach out to, see if we can get a 5th person.
Okay,
So,
wonderful.
okay,
Good job.
that's all I have.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Dr. Paul on the screen too, if you have any questions.
Hi, Paul.
He's in Louisiana, Washington.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, we're starting to, I'm sorry, I don't have any video. We're starting to work, as Paul rightly pointed out, on the construction grant. And so we're progressing on that so hopefully we can move from the planning grant, which we were successful on, to a successful construction grant and get the emergency backup system with renewable energy for the town hall set up.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for stepping up. Is there anybody on Harbor this evening?
Greetings, Jack Barrett here.
Oh, yes, Jack. Okay.
Just our only update we have is the electrical issues on the docks, and we're addressing it and trying to get it fixed.
Okay.
Electrical issues?
Okay. Okay, sounds good. We've got a planning report before us, so that looks good. There's no Parks and Recs people here.
Loretta, you might ask if there's anybody.
I don't think she's their representative.
Okay.
They don't have somebody.
They don't have, doesn't.
And Sarah can't, no, okay. I'll open up the floor for public comments and remind everyone that you have 5 minutes to present public comments.
It's not on the agenda.
Okay, nobody's stepping up there. Unfinished business, we have flip assignment. Kim, you have a verbal update on that?
And the last I heard, and I was trying to get one from our harbor master, is he didn't get that many. He got one who requested it 3 times. So, but some of because of the people who got off the list, some of it he was able, as far as I understand, he was able to accommodate everybody and wanted to request the 3rd one. He did because they were gonna enable another boat to get in. So, it sounds like it went well. I haven't heard any complaints or issues from anybody about it. And as far as he knows, it all went well too, so.
Okay, good, thank you. Cook Avenue, Gordon Fortson.
So, by a lot of pushing, she managed to clear off the right way. And because of that, it's marked. She knows exactly where her line is now. Because we had AKS, when their surveyors were out here doing other work, come and give her a line. She called me. She's very happy to have that line. She had actually, one of the broken down areas we did hire somebody to come out and push things basically off the right of way with her being there. And he was able to do that. Brady and Paul have schedules because the road needs to be done, and now that she's off the right of way, he's scheduled to have the road done. They were there today to prep it, and they're gonna pay it on Friday. So the council would need to decide going forward, how do you want to address the rest of the stuff? She is still working with Lincoln County. She is still trying to get things cleaned up. It's just a slow process. But remember, as I said, the last time the ordinance or the the notice of abate should have been on the whole property, but unfortunately, when I did it, I only focused on the right of way, which was the main thing. So the council should, let me know, or at some point discuss whether or not we want to move forward for the abatement on the rest of it. But she is currently actively working and getting stuff removed. But the right of way is cleared, so yay.
That's good news. Thank you so much.
Good job. And the neighbors are
Happier,
happier.
Good.
not happy, but happier.
They're-
Less angry.
They're excited about it.
Less angry, yeah.
Scale's going higher.
And the paving, yeah.
Yeah,
The paving is really.
it's not, I'm not done. We have a good relationship now, her and I, with all sites from Lincoln County Solid Waste. Lincoln County Sanitary is wonderful that we're doing this, and she's getting all the support through the county program. So.
And she understands that we weren't serious now,
Oh, she does.
so.
So, but I'm also, I mean, she really has, it doesn't look like it always, because there's so much there. I'm still constantly thinking how much is still there, given how much she's had to move.
I wonder how much they've taken away so far.
Do what?
I wonder how much they've taken away so far.
I gave you guys those numbers last time. I can give you updated numbers if you like.
Several times.
I know she had a bed for, Paul said she had bed frames and a couple of their old file cabinets. She was looking at getting all the way. So just waiting for the county. Her indication to me, she's determined to get it done.
Okay. Any other questions? Alrighty. Dave Pacific, please come up. I love your name.
I do too. I love that name.
enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I love it.
I've had it for a while.
And you're a new resident of Depoe Bay, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
And you're interested in our energy advisory? It
Yes.
sounds like you've got some really great background in energy there too.
Well, I have some in energy, did some work with Toyota Financial Services related to more of the automotive space. So worked with the hydrogen and with batteries and things along those lines. I've got a good idea on that.
Wonderful.
Worked in the Big Four for
Yeah, what is the Big Four? You keep mentioning that.
EY, PwC, they're accounting firms, and they do consulting all over the world. So they're Big Four, the Big Four accounting firms in the country, or in the world, I should say. So that's what I refer to them as. And worked with them globally, spent a lot of time in foreign countries, got to see a lot of different perspectives and how people handle things that we do here that we could probably do better. And probably get a better outcome from it. So spent a lot of time in Japan. They do things very, very differently, and they're right on time all the time. Where we tend to be a little bit late, and we accept that, they don't. Spent some time in the UK. They too did things a little differently, worked in Canada for years. Same one, I was in Moscow, so I've got an idea of what they did there as well. So.
Wonderful. Lots of good experience. And now you're in Little Depoe Bay and.
Yeah, well, it's a great place.
Yes.
Love it.
Good.
And we plan on spending the rest of our lives here. So as I said in my application, I have a vested interest for myself, my wife, and for everybody else that lives here. But I guess when it's a win-win situation for everybody, we get better outcomes.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions for Dave?
I have a procedural question.
Sure.
Don't we require 12 months for living in the city in order to be able to serve on a committee?
How will you busy? I will.
I have 10.
It was just a
Might have to
procedural
make an
question.
exception.
Well, that was it. Do
Or-
we want to make an exception?
Or he can audit the committee in 2 months, depending on what it actually says. I think it does say.
I know one of them
They
did say
usually
that.
are.
Is the guy in short-term housing? No, actually, I don't know. Yeah.
It's just a procedural thing.
Yeah.
I am okay with modifying the rules if
Yeah, for 2
everyone else
months,
is.
I think it's.
I'm not okay with modifying rules. I think he can participate on the committee, but not as a being member until the 2 months are up.
I think we should vote him in and let him be on there, keep it. Right, let's really.
Well, if we do it for one, we're gonna set the precedent.
That is true.
And we have a rule, there's no harm in him not serving on the committee at this time. He can serve He can come to the meetings, he can say things, he just can't vote.
Can we put him on and then?
Make it effective
Yeah.
a year from the date that
Post
he
date.
became.
If December 1st. He's got 10 months here, so December 1st would give
It would
him.
be, I moved here in November 8th to be exact.
November 8th?
And,
So we're.
Yeah, that way we don't have to have it on.
Yeah, I think we should appoint him to the committee for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I or deliberated, decided to do that today.
12/1/25.
I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Did you
It was
say
just-
12/1/25? Yeah, 12/1/25, is that okay, Dave? You can attend all the
Participate.
meetings.
understand.
Yeah. And then, but you'll be official then. Okay. Thank you for stepping
So,
out.
pardon me, okay, I see the Councilor Sal's going on form. Normally we do the vote, so you just want to make a motion. Remember, because we normally do a vote, so you want to make a motion. He's appointed as of December 1st, 2025. Once I get all that.
So moved.
Is there a second?
On
May
favor?
just say year, thank you, it is a standard, that is definitely standard, so.
So it's been moved and seconded to accept the application effective December
Everybody
1st.
in yet?
Did somebody make the motion?
I
It was
did.
moved in a second. I'll second. I'll say.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got that then. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Can't wait for
But let Kim tell us.
Luckily,
the story.
everybody voted for you.
unanimous. Good.
I move that we, accept the 20th, the ballot results.
Pardon me?
I move that we accept the ballot results.
I second.
Okay, so moved and seconded to accept the ballots as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're good. Farmers market. Do you want to come up and tell us about that?
Yep.
Okay, so you're slated for August 28th, is that correct?
Yeah.
Community center, okay. And how's it going? How many vendors do you have?
Well, my wife, and I got a guy that wants to sell some mushrooms. Most interestedly, I was wondering, Joyce, if she'll promise to show up, then I got a full showcase. The idea of a market, as we might think of it like at Chalisan or Culture Center in Liggett City or in Newport there on Saturday. These are a lot of square spaces with a lot of commerce going on. And this event is not necessarily about creating a lot of commerce. This is a space where the community can say thank you to the city council, which I have never seen a more cheery group of people doing the most thankless job I can imagine, trying to herd the cats and follow the rules. So this event that I'm asking to do, well, what I wanted to do is just rent the community hall and have a caterer come in and provide some barbecue. And see if there are people in the community that want to come out and make presentations such as disaster preparedness, emergency networking sort of strategizing. I talked about trying to feed the homeless, but I can't find it here. It is just a place for the community to come together and share resources.
You've listed it as an afternoon market?
Yeah, it was listed as a market. Now, I think the current information you have shows it as a bazaar. Okay, because it's really just me doing a podcast from the backstage of the little back porch of the community hall. And if people in town, the cottage industry in town wants to have media created for their social media channel, they can come down here and we'll create it for them. It's a opportunity for the city to, again, get itself out there on Facebook and YouTube as a place to come and enjoy a quiet evening in the magic that is Depoe Bay, down by the smallest harbor in the world. It would be, the target demographic for the event would be the community themselves, the shop owners that are affluent enough to be able to leave the store behind on Thursday afternoon and go have a barbecue and some coleslaw and talk with their neighbors.
So
Yeah.
this sounds a little different than the farmer's market and artisan fair, which is what the
Yes.
application is for. So did that plans change because nobody wants to participate?
Yeah, that's basically it. That's what happened. The whole idea was that the artisans would be, driving the gathering, but it's obviously not that. There are several barriers to having that happen from 0 to, something. If we're able to do this event and you guys stop by, pick up a sandwich from Patty Mac, that barbecue joint in Newport. We'll be doing the catering. And see what we're doing. My wife is going to be one of the vendors that will have a city business license. All the application information has been amended to show that that is a necessity and this is how you get it. And people are just invited to appear. There are no charges for setting up a table, and we'll just, police the area. I'm just gonna try to have some entertainment. I understand there's a blind guy, Steve, that plays at Gracie's. Michael and his buddy. I was gonna try to see if I could get them to come down for a couple hours. There's a guy around the corner from me. And do a podcast. Can I rent the hall to do a podcast? Because it looks like I'm going to show up. With me and my wife, just go sit at a little table and sell her cat cards.
If I might, Madam Mayor, so when it was originally talked about, it was going to be more like a bigger event with craft sales. In fact, when I sent you that stuff, that's where it still was, but circumstances have changed. So it's not really gonna be an event in a way that it's gonna cost the $300 to rent it, and we have all these situations. It is really going to be just like a gathering, if you will. Where the issue came in, right, where the issue came in was that there will be a food truck there, and our rules say that you can have a food truck if it's an event that's the council has agreed to allow. And that's why he's here to see if you can allow him to go ahead and do this. And he would pay the resident rate, because it's just a gathering, not really an event, because he's not advertising his event.
There's no commerce.
But he would also be allowed to have the food truck.
So this is only for these 2 days.
Yes, right now, because they're kind of testing the waters to see.
At the present
how they
time,
know.
it's for the first one, that's for sure.
Right.
I can promise the first one. If the city likes what happened and thinks it's a good idea.
And you like what happened.
We dare you to do a second one. I'll see what I can do the next second one.
Are you giving the food away or are you charging for it?
No,
Food truck.
The food
no,
truck?
there's no charge.
No,
No, there's no charge.
He's
I
having-
invite you all to come down and have a sandwich, have a piece of barbecue.
And no cost?
No. I had a corporate sponsor. What did he say?
Yes. I double checked all that. It would have changed things had he had been a business.
So the real issue here is, are we gonna allow a food truck to be at the community center for
For an event.
for an event? For it's really not even it's not an event, it's like if I were to rent the community center for a meeting or something,
A
can
large
I have a
meeting.
food truck there? That's really the issue.
Exactly, thank you.
Would it be helpful if, a nonprofit, say a church or something stepped in and said, you know, we wanted to rent this area so that we could have catered bazaar for our congregants?
I don't think it matters. So, our decision is whether to waive fees, is that what?
No, he's not, well, we originally
No, I'll
thought it
pay
was gonna be
$125.
$300, but it's not, and if it's just, if he ends up, like, say the council, you wanted him to sign up as a nonprofit, he would just get the nonprofit rate, otherwise he gets the resident rate, which is the $125.
So we're no
So-
longer voting on waiving the fee, we're just voting on allowing the food truck.
Right.
Okay.
Recognizing it as an event per our code that allows him to have a food truck.
And we are not being listed as a sponsor, the city is not
No.
listed as a sponsor.
So
Today,
the vendor information isn't relevant now.
Well, he updated it today.
I just wanted you to know
It's
these
the new
are
stuff.
the
This stuff.
latest.
Because, I had some comments on that, but it doesn't seem applicable right now, but maybe down the line.
Right.
So like, proof of insurance for how much, and then naming the city as an additional insured.
Because he changed the
Okay.
scope, it changed what I was.
Right, so
getting
right
from him.
now, we're just doing the two events, and then if it's more, then we'll get to this vendor information.
Oh, yes. We have to go through a pretty big process of that, because, you know, the farmer's market, being in the ENVI zone, that sort of stuff, so.
So we just need to vote
On whether or not you recognize it as an event to allow a food truck, or a gathering and allow a food truck.
Well, we do allow it
For gatherings, yes, true.
So I guess that's really my question. It's basically catering, right? So if somebody wanted to come in to the community center and have a wedding, and they had it catered by somebody outside, we would allow that.
And we never
The
have to vote
difference
on it.
is that it's in a truck now that's sitting
Right.
outside of the community center, but
Yeah.
it's still catered.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
so I don't see a problem with it as being a resident event that has a food truck as a caterer. I think that should be fine.
Okay. And
That's
he
my
does,
opinion.
he does also understand the noise ordinance. I made that very clear to him. He's not planning on being there that late, so I think 7 PM, right? If he stays that long.
So I would move that we would allow this event or this meeting, this residential rate with a food truck that is providing catered food.
I'll second. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded to allow the Thursday afternoon, whatever it's called.
28.
August
28th.
28th.
Yeah, Thursday, what's the, what are you calling it?
What's it, what are we calling it?
It's a new site.
Today? Thursday afternoon in Depot Bay.
Okay, Thursday afternoon, Depot Bay, there's much traffic involved. Is there discussion on the motion?
I'd like to, restrict it to these two dates for now,
Okay,
August 28th and September 11th.
okay.
So food truck need to have a city license?
The September 11th one, I was gonna maybe do a patriotic theme, a
That he
veteran.
was selling, yes.
And-
But, whatever it is.
And they might
September
already
11th. I just want to name those two dates as what our motion
Okay.
is.
Okay.
So okay for the minutes?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Looks like you're good to go.
Oh my gosh, well, thank you so much, I hope you all stop by.
Okay, you're welcome, thank you. Okay, we have an agreement, has everyone had a chance to look at this? With Acton, for a $25,000 budgeted expenses already there for the Community Renewable Energy Program construction grant.
And
Paul's still online to get a question.
So it is as described with the solar array and batteries for the city hall?
Right.
And hydrogen.
And we're approving the Aptum agreement, and we've already gone through with, we've used them before, it's the same agreement that we had last time, with the changes we had last time.
They put together the.
It's to help, so generally what he did last time is he picked up a lot, after he picked up a lot of the costs to do the grant support. This time, we wanna give them, and you guys have approved it at the budget, to be able to give them that extra to pay his. I don't think he's paying himself, but I think he's paying other folks, so.
Good. Is there any question on the, agreement?
I move that we approve the professional service agreement with a contract value not to exceed $25,000. Authorize the city administrator to execute the agreement with Aptum.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the, professional service agreement with Aptum, for not to exceed $25,000. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Paul, did you have a comment?
Only that their, work agreement says they'll get it done as fast as possible unless there's a date specified on Exhibit A. And obviously the due date is when the grant is due.
September 22nd.
And, yeah,
Maybe we
but
should add
that should
that.
be on Exhibit A.
Oh, okay,
is
it
all
should
I'm
be
saying.
Yeah, it should be in there. Okay. They were specific about putting that in there, but I'll double check.
It's not in
It's
there.
not.
Paul, can we just put that date in there? 22nd, I'll email you tomorrow. What is that? What is that? Is that a radio control thing? Where's the keys?
Is something over on Highway 101? There's something in the back of the truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, noise is over.
So, that was accepted to have the date.
I will double check and we'll add the date. Yes, if you're not seeing it, I thought they were putting it on there, but because they're also very specific, so. And he also told me that they're not gonna get anywhere near 20,000, but it's nice to have a.
Up to it.
225.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, he's just like, we're not gonna get it, you can just.
Okay.
Perfect, okay. Approval of a development agreement with Harbor Lights.
I need, somebody to tell the difference between what was in packet 2 and what was in packet 1. What the difference is.
So what they did was when I sent that out to you last week, that was the draft we had. And then, for some reason, I'm not really sure, our city planner wanted to review it again and wanted to add a bit of language in there. We also, at the bottom on page 2, it said we also added language that more clearly specifies improvements that would be required to be accepted prior to occupancy. So that's what he added to make sure that there would be, we're being very careful with this one, that they have to meet 3 conditions of approval to start building. With the exception of doing some of this, they have to have this development agreement. So this is kind of step 1. Has to be approved by the council, the planning commission.
Where are you reading?
Huh?
Are you reading somewhere?
No, I'm explaining where we're on with this. So this was brought to the planning commission, but it had been revised since then. I know Councilor had asked about. This is the first step for them to finish the rest of it, which is the site plan and doing the performance bond and all that. Anyway, I was just like, so we're being very specific, and this allows them to move forward a little bit to get going on the project, but they're not able to put any building permits necessarily until these 3 things are done. And this is the first one. It's been reviewed several times and worked through with our city attorney. There is one request that after the planning commission meeting that the applicant, Mark Lysick, and he's online, so he could give you some more details if you want. He requested to modify the terms of agreement prior to recording to permit occupancy, and this is in the memo from Creed. Of townhomes on lots 18 to 24 prior to completion of the required half-street improvements to Southeast 40 Lane. And I double checked to make sure that was okay with John because he scrutinizes to make sure that, I said, we need to make sure improvements get done. So this still takes it, but it also helps the applicant out with moving forward.
And didn't they also wanna have, or did you just say, occupancy?
Yes, that's what I was just saying, yep, exactly, yeah.
Before. Have we done that before for other builders? Given them permission?
Well, because we have a really good city engineer and he's working with, I don't know, I don't think this has ever come up before. I think this is kind of new, but our code does allow it and our city engineer has experience with it, so they were able to kind of negotiate, putting that together. But still in compliance with our code and still compliance with our conditions. The conditions are very important.
So, on page 2, the, Roman numeral 2, rights and obligations of part, those are the 3 developers' rights and obligations.
I'm getting there. You said page 2 part.
It's like that.
Developers' rights and obligations. Yes, so the conditions of approval that.
That wasn't my question.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so number 2, there it said, prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy of the first building in the development, except that lots 18 to 24 may receive an issuance. It's first in all subsequent buildings, not just the first one.
Right, lots 18 to 24. So the first building in the development, except that lots 18 to 24 may receive issuance of certificates of occupancy if all improvements and common element improvements are complete fronting said lots. So what there's.
My issue is with the wording that restricts it to prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy of the first building in the development, except those other ones. But it should be first building and all subsequent buildings.
Okay. There's I have to run this by, Mr. Lysick and,
But that's the intent. There should be no other, certificate of occupancy of any buildings, except the ones that were
except
excluded.
18 to 24 is what you're proposing. What does the rest of the council, they want me to move forward with checking and adding this part?
I need to recuse myself from this just because I have some financial interest in the lots that are already developed. And while I have no interest in what's going to be developed at this point, I think just for clarity's sake, I should recuse myself.
And then I know there's several people in the audience that might have an interest in, do we take any other public testimony?
That is up to the council.
I would like to make that available if any neighbors want to comment on it.
It's generally just
resolve this one first, please.
And it's up to the presiding officer.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll open up.
But I think Councilor Rec would like to resolve this issue first.
Yeah. I'll open up the development agreement between the city of Depoe Bay and Harbor Lights for public comments at this time.
We're good. Thank you.
So I do want to,
I
I want to make sure that if you guys are okay with adding the words and any subsequent building in the development. The phrase in front of except that lot 18 to 23.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Is everyone in concurrence? Yes. At those, you
I'll,
got that?
I will propose that and, so we're right on that. And then, to help move things along, if they come back and said that language is agreeable to them, are you okay with the rest of the development agreement? So that instead of them coming back to another meeting, if they're okay with this, would you be willing to say if they're okay with this, we'll approve the agreement?
So I have, so when we get a diagram and it's like tiny, it's really hard to make good decisions without being able to really see what's being proposed. It's like this tiny, tiny thing. It doesn't show where any of the you know, trees or open space or parks or anything else is.
Are you talking about, are you saying in the future, or that you would like to get something bigger that we make sure, because I see what you're saying, it's very small. I guess, Council, I just wanna say, if you want to hold off to get a bigger map on this, so you can make a more informed decision, what's your pleasure?
Well, I like to know what I'm approving, frankly. And, it's hard for me, I understand where 18 to 24 is, but I don't understand all the other, agreements.
Well, just to clarify, so I'm sure you know the development itself has been approved, so
Yeah.
we're not doing anything about that. What they're doing is they're allowing them to go through the step one of the 3 conditions they must meet that the planning commission has set. The first one is the development agreement, so, they will not be able to move forward without this. All this does is addresses the improvements and make sure that those improvements that our code requires get done. They're just asking for, I hope if I'm explaining this right, but they're just asking for this occupancy earlier to be allowed to do that while some of the improvements are still being done.
So in
Particularly
any
when
future things that we get, we should be able to read and look at the plans.
Okay, so you wanna make sure, because this is something I'll tell our city planner, because he put this together, that you want to see the plans themselves.
Are they in the office, in a bigger format?
I don't know where he has it.
It should be on a blueprint somewhere.
They
It
would
should be
be.
a site plan.
Yeah, but we get it in our packet,
I understand.
I want to see it in the packet.
I think
Part
all
that's
of those were
relevant
in
to us.
the packet presented to the planning commission.
Yeah.
Bigger drawings in there of them.
That's true. So it's kind of, you want kind of a similar thing. Does the entire council agree they want that similar thing, the plans, let's see the plans again? Or, because sometimes you guys don't even see them, so I see what you're
So
saying.
where it's relevant to.
In the future.
Okay.
I don't need to see anything.
I'll talk to Creed about how we can do that to make sure that you guys get what you need without being inundated with things you don't.
Okay.
Because you know the plan, you get a lot of stuff from the plan.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this development, agreement?
If the changes are accepted.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the, development with Harbor Lights with the city. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And one recusal.
One recusal, thank you, Bill.
Gina, please note, make sure to note on recusal. Just to clarify, normally, like we did earlier with the action agreement, I asked for authorization to sign. In this case, it will be signed by the mayor because it is an official document that is approved by the council.
Even Kathy is with a K is not.
I know, I was gonna mention that, that's okay.
Is that on the development agreement?
I can make it a K, it's no big deal. Oh, big deal.
Well, we'll fix it.
Don't worry about it.
Especially since you're gonna have to fix the other thing anyway.
That's right.
Okay. We had added, do you wanna do city staff, updates? And then I'll give the letters.
I don't think I have anything new to add. Brady does. Brady, why don't you talk about what's been going on over at wastewater with the rail and
Yeah.
all that fun stuff?
So the sewer lift station, it's a 12-foot concrete hole that goes about 40 feet down that the main sewer that inflows from the system. Everything from Glenny, about 1,000 gallons a minute, it goes into that well. The pumps are submersible pumps. They're big. They're as big as a Volkswagen, and they're lowered down these rails that we can service them or put a new pump in with the crane. They slide down and interlock into the piping where the flows come in. It's all raw sewer. well, there's two pumps that alternate and they're both down in the hole. They tend to last several years, but these are the ones that are so expensive to rebuild. We had a seal failure in one, and as the operators were removing it, it pulled the bail, which holds the pump when you pull it, broke, and the pump fell off the rails and did a bunch of damage to the rails. And they've been in there since 2003.
Save the pump and the stuff underneath it, otherwise it'd be more expensive.
It would have been a terrible
Is
thing.
this
if
at
it
the
would've-
sewer treatment plant?
Yeah, it kind of broke and then broke the other pump, did damage to the well, bypassing the ocean, we would have made the news. It would have terrible, but it did get caught. The guys fortunately had the catwalk crew over there with a big forklift, and we were able to get several pieces of line and rope. The good things were a little fishing town with plenty of big line that the Coast Guard gave us, and they were able to rescue the pump by lassoing it and a lot of innovation. But they got the pump out, but the railings are damaged, so we're running off one pump now. We do have a backup pump that the city purchased a few years ago, but it's a diesel powered system. And we have the piping and whatnot. We have to buy more piping, but long story short, tomorrow morning, the catwalk crew, which is Reimer, is going to, they gave us a big, great price.
$4,700 to do this.
We would have had to have another crew come in and stage and everything. So very feasible to do this repair, but they're gonna fix and repair the railing for us tomorrow. But we have to buy.
Do we need to make an emergency appropriation or?
No, it's under 5,000, so it's actually under 10,000, so that's within my authority.
Yeah, so they're moving forward tomorrow. A lot going on tomorrow. We're gonna pave Cook Street Friday, so they're still doing prep work with that, and then the sewer pump repair, so. Busy day. And they're reading meters, we got the field guys, so. The new guys are working out great. Harbor restrooms are very busy. A lot of work just maintaining. I've got one guy that just checks them all through the day. When we're busy and the ocean's calm, like it has been, a lot of whale watching, a lot of tourists, so. A lot of folks need to use the restroom. It's good. We have more toilets now, I think, so there's a overflow porta potty that we have, the city owns, and then the 3 restrooms, so.
Yeah, our harbor master's been, he's, not seeing it, when you're sitting in the office, you don't see how many people are waiting at dockside, but now he sees them, and he's like, wow.
It's
very.
So we need to go to pay toilets, just kidding.
Things are holding up for now, so we can, upgrade down the road in a few years, maybe get something more, high volume turnover. Kind of like what's designed for the top of Coho, which is like Martin's.
Yeah,
We're gonna
that's
have
still in the budget.
We're gonna have a high flow toilet system there.
Is that the one behind?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's behind.
Yeah, what's the status of that? Where's that?
So.
That's something we'll probably
It's
work
in the
on
budget.
after the first of the
in the
year.
It's gonna be a turnkey system.
You guys
It's
already
gonna be
approved
set.
it, yeah.
I know, but it's not ordered.
We have to go through the process and then we'll have to go through probably an RFP because it's gonna be a lot.
For sure.
So that won't be a direct procurement or emergency.
Yeah.
Okay.
These companies are out of Washington, so it should.
And we have the building unless another company can say, well, we can provide a better building and here's what it would cost to install it. So we gotta, that's one of the things we'll have to do.
So the trade winds, folks, where do people use the restroom when they're standing?
So Tradewinds, on the bottom of the tower there, I'll use that photo as an example, where they clean fish there, that little, beige building on the left, those are restrooms.
Oh.
So that's cool. So there's no requirement for businesses with lots of customers to provide restrooms for their clients?
Apparently, that's one of the things Carlos told me, apparently that is not a code requirement.
Yeah, I noticed today the signs tell the trade winds guests who wanna go into the Horn, obviously, use the restrooms, they tell them to go down to the
harbor.
The leather place,
Oh, yeah, the corridor bathrooms, yeah.
the ones at the back of the
Oh, yeah.
Woodmark building. That's where they're directing the traffic, cause you drive by there and there could be 50, 60 people standing there.
Yeah, businesses are directing them generally to our local restaurants.
The Woodmark restaurant.
Or they are across the street and use the state park?
Or the state park.
Yeah, the state
Oh,
park.
that one's there too, right?
But I think where the ones are gonna be located at Coho, it's gonna be very convenient there.
Well, I volunteer with
is whale occupancy when they have bathrooms. And I always have people not going out on the road watching trick when they use bathrooms.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, maybe we should eventually look at that allowance too, because, harbor user fees could help pay for it, because they're not flying around.
And real quick, speaking of the harbor, there was an issue reported with regarding to some cable connection that got police on dock two, so we're still running into things that are failing, if you will. So I emailed P&D's, our construction man, said, what's the deal? Because Dave told me in order for him to fix it, it's not just simple, he's gonna have to remove wires and all, so I'm like, no, this should be under warranty, so. I'm waiting for another update, which I will email and say, where is the rest of this stuff, because we still have things. I am unaware of any electrical issues down there, so, we had some, but they were fixed. But I haven't heard of any more, so maybe I'll talk to Dave on Thursday to see if he's aware of any.
Paul has an update too to talk about.
Okay, so apparently there is one.
Okay. Can we ask that question?
Yes, yeah.
Sure. I saw in the notes, something about the security cameras, and in previous sessions, there was some kind of a note about a camera under the bridge.
Yes, it's not gonna go under the bridge, it's gonna go in the Coast Guard building. I'm still waiting for the Coast Guard to approve that. I don't know why, they're supposed to have it approved in the middle of August, well, it's not.
And that's gonna be on the website
On
or
the
something?
Coast Guard, yeah, and that'll be a live stream camera that I will paste on the website. And we'll probably give it to the OSMB folks to have them put it on their website, so it'll be the channel on it, and that would be pretty nice. But I followed up with the Coast Guard, the Corps and Coast Guard, and no, don't have an answer yet, so.
And then I just had one other question about the water treatment plant. There was an accounts payable for a new floor at the water treatment plant, which was like
Wastewater.
50. Oh, I thought it said
No,
water
it should,
treatment.
well, if it did, it shouldn't have, it's
Okay,
wastewater.
you just might wanna check the code.
I will,
Okay.
I gave her the right code, but she might have put the wrong description.
And then the other question I have is, in the notes, you're indicating that there's a delay due to not going to the voters with a ballot until May of 2026. And I'd like to understand
That's probably not.
what we're delaying and what that really means, because, I know we had some initial conversations about charter and those kinds of things, but I didn't know that we had made some kind of a decision about a vote to the residents in May of 2020.
Well, yeah, we decided it wasn't gonna be November, because it's more.
There's no guarantee you will, you guys can still change your mind, but the idea is not, and I should clarify, it's about the funding to buy the new plant. The budget there's money in there to continue moving forward. In fact, I need to follow up with it because there has been no action on this to find out, because they have the money to do the design and all that other stuff. The delay is the money.
Okay.
Going after that DEQ grant with the debt forgiveness.
Okay, so I knew we had a discussion about changing the charter to allow debt, but I didn't know that it was specific about this, and I think we probably need to have a broader discussion about how we're gonna pay for this and whether we need to do bonds like we've done in the past, or whether we are gonna do it with a loan, as we're discussing, which requires a charter change. And so I think that's a much bigger discussion as opposed to just saying that we're delayed here because we're waiting for May 2026. I think another work session somewhere down the road.
Absolutely.
Where we can pull together how we really wanna try to fund this.
Yeah, happy to do that. I'll remove
Because
that
it
question.
wasn't restricted to just that. It was
Right.
I have one. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Karen?
No, go ahead.
We never did get the emails of finishing up on the grant about landscaping and lights. It was never sent out.
Raymond, landscaping and
Granite complaint.
Oh, yes, I know, I'm going to, I decided that, I'm gonna let Creed have fun with that because he's been doing so good with code enforcement. I do wanna let you know that, the Elliston survey came back.
Yeah.
And it definitely.
I took pictures of the flags.
I got a draft letter and I'll probably send that out to them tomorrow. They are already aware of that, they were asking, so I kind of gave them a heads up about it, but they'll get the letter that basically says we gotta move it, so.
So when we get all that figured out, will that go to Parks to get their input, the Parks Commission to give their input on what should happen, or? Anyway, just thought.
Well, no, they should remove the encroachment, then we can decide what to do.
Right, yeah.
Yes, that would be possibly something the Parks Commission could discuss and make a recommendation to the council, or we follow what was in the Parks Master Plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then I have one more question, please, on this tourism marketing and promotion. You said that there was, we haven't seen the responses that we got from the original.
I'm waiting for one more.
Okay.
So the Newport Chamber of Commerce.
I saw that.
Yes, so I wrote that about there. So I did finally get an email from them that it's gonna require a bit more discussion. And it might be something that you guys will have to have a work session on, but basically they're trying to do a greater chamber, like a greater Lincoln County chamber, which would be beneficial to us because we don't have a chamber. So, but what that would look like, and originally when he brought it up, he wasn't looking at it from the standpoint of the extra things we want to have them do. So we kind of need to talk about that, and I might need to have you guys do it in the work session.
Yeah, our history
Added
is
the
not
city
good.
to the Depoe Bay Chamber. was
No,
not a-
we have a.
Right, and
that
that did come up, I don't know, but the difference is right now we don't have a chamber, and we have people coming, honest to God, we have people coming into City Hall all the time looking for a chamber office. We have somebody coming and wanting to get those, I'm dating myself, those gas station maps where you go in and you get your map of the Lincoln, the coast, that, most of us now use phones, but we get them all the time. And I would say at least once a week, consistently, we get somebody either calling about the crab feed, the salmon bake, the chamber, or other things like that. So something is needed.
Okay, thanks.
One other question or comment?
Yep.
The note here about the survey for the changes going on in the park. I guess my question first is, are you getting a lot of response? And my second question is, can you put a note on our utility bill that says, you know what, we'd really appreciate it if you go and complete the survey?
Well, they decided that they closed the survey. So what we're gonna do is they're gonna take what they got, which was about 15 responses. There were some good ones, but it was interesting, a lot of them were over 55.
That's all?
Yeah.
Oh.
And this last week with Pepalooza, Loretta was an angel to go around and handed those flyers out to everybody. So I think what will probably have more impact, and I'm waiting for Kirsty to decide when we're gonna do this, is a town hall. Set up a meeting in the community hall, show everybody idea, feed people, snacks, things like that. I think we'll get people there. So that's kind of what we decided to wait for.
I just got a text from Autumn, who's now Zooming.
Oh.
There's a recall hall set up right out in front of City Hall on 101 in the gravel area.
There's a
6
what?
trucks, tables, banners.
Claire Hall.
Recall.
Oh.
So that's what we heard of. So Casey's still on duty.
I don't think I can do anything about that.
That's a political.
It's a political thing, I don't think you can.
I don't think I can do anything about that. So, sorry, Autumn.
Sorry.
Freedom of speech.
Okay, let's move on, guys. It's getting late here. We had, we've got these 2 letters in front of us, but we also, it's not on the agenda, is the letter from Mrs. Fader. Did everyone see that one?
Yes.
What actions do we want to take on that?
My surrogate grandmother.
Her letter is only partially correct. We spent a lot of money and a lot of time accommodating her requests.
Is it just a driveway cut she needs, Brady?
She says she uses that lot when she has friends over the park. And there's a pedestrian crosswalk there, so the engineer gave her as much as was allowable.
Right.
And we did extend it almost enough to where we were questioned on the final.
Oh, yeah, we almost didn't get our full grant because of that extra
That
acre they
change.
put in there.
That's an interesting survey thing to look at too, as far as where the city ownership line goes and hers goes.
Yeah, I've done a lot of, she has me on speed dial, I do a lot of stuff there. I mean, we've Okay, it's, yeah.
She had
It's a
wanted us to
long
replace
list of
all her
stuff.
roadies. But the agreement was originally when the project was done, they thought they were gonna actually have to remove the rhododendrons. So in that case, we would have replaced them, not a problem. They would have been 80-year-old rhododendrons, but we would have replaced them. But then we found out, no, they're not gonna have to replace them, so they're gonna work around them, they were gonna tie back branches, and we said, okay, well, if during the work, if they destroy them, if they break them enough that they don't come back, if they are just not usable, we would still replace them. Well, they broke a few branches, but I had to spend money to have an arborist come out to review these, to give a professional opinion that those roadies are fine. They just need they need more shade, more water, and food.
Yeah.
So,
And she wants them replaced.
but no, she's okay with that now, but now she's saying, and she's claiming that she's got this parking that was always given to her, but it wasn't. So what I need from the council is, do you want me to work on responding to this? Because it came in, I had told her she should come to the council and discuss it with the council, so she sent this instead. I need direction if you want me to work on this and get the answer for her, which will be involving contacting our city engineer to explain it. He's done that before with her, so.
What's the alternative?
The alternative is
Do nothing.
do nothing, seriously.
Yeah,
And
there's
then
also a
when
survey.
she comes back to me or Brady and says, well, what happened? You say, well, it came in as a public
The
comment.
last survey shows her garage and a major portion of that property on the right of way at the base.
It's on city property.
Can we send the engineer and her get together or have a?
Oh, yeah, okay, next Friday, so we sure could do that.
Why don't we do that?
What's that gonna cost?
Say what,
Well,
Joe?
He'll already be here.
Okay.
And send him,
Make an appointment for this young lady and the engineer to sit down.
Yep. Well, we'll have an appointment for him to go out there. I will give him a heads up because he'll have to go out there because she won't come in here.
Okay.
And then he can show her.
Right,
There's
where the property lines are?
She's disabled. It's an old survey. It's not current.
Well, they have the right property lines marked, remember?
Oh, yeah, but I mean.
For the Bay Street Improvement Project, they
Yeah.
have the survey, so we've got the numbers. It's not good.
That's a good plan. I like
So we're
Okay.
just gonna have the engineer go out.
Okay, so I'll just tell John about it and we'll just have him show up and go take a look at it.
Tell them bring cookies.
Okay, thank you.
Bring cookies.
Okay, and lastly is our letters with chickens and what do we have in bees?
Chickens and bees.
We've had a lot of requests, a lot of questions about chickens in the city. So this woman apparently has been one of the predominant folks really interested. I didn't know that the bees were an issue, so she came in today and she would like the council to consider, do we want to revise the code to allow bees or chickens?
Wait, where's the bee one?
It's
The second letter.
Second letter.
There were two letters.
Yeah, and a lot of cities have chicken ordinances and bee ordinances and, so it wouldn't be hard to find one, to present if the council was interested. It would probably have to go to the planning commission first, because it's generally, it could be more land use, but I'll have to look and see. Sometimes they're one way or the other. So I just need direction from the council if you want to explore this idea.
We're too small.
Yeah, we do have chickens already, but they don't get.
They're illegal chickens?
Mm-hmm.
They're illegal chickens. We had an illegal rooster once that wasn't really a
Yeah, we
rooster.
have.
Oh, the chicken that identified as a rooster? Is that what?
Yeah.
This one was on Winchell.
Two already.
Winchell and Ainsley.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those furry chickens, but it was a female.
It was a chicken that identified as a rooster. Man, that thing.
So, I mean, I don't have any, well, my only objection to chickens, I like the idea of people being able to do things. First of all, though, people let their chickens go, wander. And the other thing is, they attract rats because people leave the feed out.
And raccoons,
So I think,
You could also look at restricting it to certain zones, like, maybe more out of town. I mean, there's options.
I don't know, on bees, I don't,
If you need an idea what-
can we think about this more?
Absolutely. No, you don't have to act on it tonight.
Can we not let planning look at it first to see if there's anything planning needs to do before we address it?
I'll look and see where the codes are, and then if it is a planning thing, do you want me to have planning work on it?
That's a good idea, let's have.
No, I mean, why-
It might not fall within planning unless we want to restrict it to certain zones, it might
I
be a
know it's not a
municipal.
planning issue, it's a public health and safety issue.
Yeah, I think they should be separate. The chickens and the pigs, I don't think it should be lumped together. It's not.
Well, it would be under an animals code in the city, an animal
What
code
did
in
we
the
just
city.
say, though? Didn't we just put an animal code in?
We did to nuisance feeding of animals, yes. So it would kind of expand that code if it went in the meat code, or if it was a land use zoning thing, then it would.
We're not doing anything about code enforcement now. I don't wanna add anything more that we don't do
I
anything about.
would, pardon me, Councilor
Well-
Sovereign, I would disagree with you on just how much is on my plate for code enforcement.
I know that, and we don't need to add anything more to it.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I am, between me and Creed, we are, and then with Casey, we're addressing what we know about, or if I see something, I'll.
And that includes all the campers all over town that people are living in.
That was Casey, well, see, that's the other thing. The campers all over town, I don't know of any, I don't go looking to see who's living, but it has to be verified, or somebody has to be willing to swear on a complaint with the deputy. This happened where I was from, Millersburg, where people would complain that so-and-so was living in their RV on the property, but then the deputy would go out to the property owner and they'd say, nah, nah, nah. But the people making the complaint weren't willing to sign a complaint.
So back to these two things,
Yes,
can we just
Take it
have,
under consideration?
yeah, can we just have more time to think
Yeah,
about it?
absolutely.
Let's do it, we'll table it.
I just think that it's kind of weird.
Okay, we'll go
I'll have to
to
think about it.
closing public comments, are there public comments? Are there any council comments? Not hearing none, let's go home. Adjourn.
good night, everybody online.
Thanks for coming, Kim and Jim.
Yeah, thank you for looking that up.
You betcha.
It was clarified by the letter that you made last night.